Welcome everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy. We welcome you to the first ever online premiere of the SciFilmIt Hackathon screening here in Geneva at the Campus Biotech. This past weekend we had the hackathon and we now have 5 beautiful films to show you this evening. We're the organisational committee who helped put it together and we're really happy that you're here with us tonight.
Bonsoir et bienvenue à la projection des films produits par SciFilmIt Genève pendant les 3 jours de hackathon la semaine dernière. Nous sommes les organisations de l'événement et nous vous remercions d'être là avec nous ce soir.
Just so you know what to expect this evening, here's how it's going to work. First, you're going to hear from one of the co-founders of the organisation, Robbie, who's going to explain a bit about how the event this last weekend worked. Then, you're going to see all 5 films that were created this past weekend by the participants, along with some interviews that we had with them on Zoom to help explain the creative process and give you an inside look. After that, we'll have a conversation with one of the mentors who helped out with the event, and then you'll be encouraged to vote for your favourite film. The link is in the description below.
Voici comment va se dérouler l'événement ce soir. Nous commençons par l'introduction de SciFilmIt et on apprendra plus sur l'histoire de SciFilmIt avec un de ses fondateurs, Robbie. Ensuite, nous entrons dans le cœur de l'événement, la projection des 5 films par les 5 équipes incroyables. Enfin, nous vous encourageons de voter pour votre film préféré. Le lien sera dans la description ci-dessous.
One additional thing. We'd like you to ask any questions that you have throughout the event and put them into the YouTube comment stream of this live event. And what's going to happen is at the end, after we announce the winner, I will then have a Zoom call between the participants where we'll read out the questions and have a conversation.
Sachez que vous pouvez poser toutes vos questions pendant tout le long de l'événement dans le live chat. Notez aussi quelle équipe à laquelle vous voulez poser vos questions et l'équipe sera là pour répondre à vos questions dans une session questions-réponses live avec Liam.
And that's all we have to say. Thanks again for being here tonight and we'll let Robbie take it away.
C'est tout ce que vous devez savoir pour ce soir. À toi, Robbie.
Hello, welcome to SciFilmIt Hackathon Geneva 2020 public online cinema event. Tonight we're going to watch 5 short science films that were made just last weekend by teams of scientists, artists, filmmakers and storytellers. Now before we watch the films, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what SciFilmIt is and what happened last weekend. SciFilmIt is an organization that brings together science and film in order to engage the public with research that's taking place in cities around the world. The SciFilmIt Hackathon is a 3-day event in which scientists and artists who have never met before come together in a team to create a short science film in just 3 days. Now, SciFilmIt Geneva 2020 took place from the 18th of September to the 20th of September. We invited the teams into our science film world. We gave them the space, we gave them as much food as they could eat, we gave them as much coffee as they could drink, and we gave them expert mentors in storytelling, science communication, and filmmaking. These expert mentors helped the teams through their journey. They gave them advice on filmmaking, comments on their scripts, and helped them go through the challenges of meeting each other and producing a film in just 3 days. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Didier Perret, Hedwig Enns, Rob Hullub, John Moida-Vitry, Tablaid Kubota, and myself. Without the mentors' advice and expert mentoring over the 3 days, as well as the seminars that they gave, the process would become even more challenging for the teams that made the films. I'd also like to say a big thank you to the sponsors of the event. They were Campus Biotech, the University of Geneva, Fonds Général de l'Université de Genève, Nikon, the Canton of Geneva, Centre Interfacultaire en Sciences Affectives, CESA, at the University of Geneva, and the doctoral school Cousseau. Huge thank you for believing in us and supporting us. I'd like to say another thank you as well to Campus Biotech. They gave us a huge amount of space and made the event even more incredible. Thank you. My last thank you is for the organizers. It is incredibly challenging putting together an event like this, even at the easiest of times. Because of COVID, there were extra regulations and we had to be very vigilant throughout the event. So a big thank you to Terawat Monor, Liam Scarrett, Paula Martinez, Erica Honek, and Tan Mishwe. Now, I think we're ready to see the films. We're going to watch each film, have a chat with the filmmakers, and when we've seen all the films, we're going to have a vote for the best short science film. And you can vote at home. Enjoy the films.
I imagine the symptoms of schizophrenia to be hallucinations.
Imagining things that are not real. Erratic behavior. Paranoia.
These are just the most evident sides of schizophrenia. Now that is all over, because those symptoms decrease with medicines. But then little things that we weren't paying attention to became more and more problematic. He's not practicing with his team. He doesn't really enjoy doing anything anymore. And sometimes it even looks like he's unable to get out of bed at all. I just wish I could help him. The psychiatrist gave us options for treatments for this, but she was very clear about the fact that none of those were likely to help him get back to how he felt before. But it's not the end. I read that researchers are studying the causes behind these issues, and I know how showing him support and love can help him feel stronger. Try to understand him. He needs us.
Here we have Jimmy Neron teams. They joined the SciFilm Hackathon during this weekend in Geneva, and they produced a film called Shadows Within. Here we have the four participants: Fabienne, Beatriz, Irene, and Ricardo. So we want to know more about them and their experience during this hackathon. So first, we want to know what was the message of the film, what they wanted to convey when they were doing this film process.
Okay, so maybe I can start answering. The scientific message behind this movie was that by starting doing my thesis on this subject, on the subject of schizophrenia, I realized that a lot of people actually think of schizophrenia as a specific set of symptoms that are not representative of the whole thing that schizophrenia is. And I just wanted to bring more awareness on the symptoms that are not really talked about and that people don't know about, so that they can have a better idea of the types of problems and problematics that those patients go through in their everyday lives. And yeah, so that's about the scientific part of it, and maybe Ricardo can add something about the artistic part of it. You're muted, Ricardo.
Turn on the mic.
Okay, yeah. So I think that just to add that we really wanted to add an emotional layer, basically, because we're talking about patients that are, of course, humans, and a part of creating awareness of the symptoms, we wanted, as I said, create this emotional layer, because this awareness has to be connected with empathy, basically. So we wanted to create this visually, this emotional layer and this emotional universe.
Great. Thank you both for participating. I was also wondering during these 3 days of hackathon, what was, it's a teamwork. You know each other just on Friday and then you have to start to work together. So I want to explore what were the most difficult things that you as a team had to deal with during these 3 days.
So I can answer that. I think our most problematic challenge was communication, because I'm a scientist, I'm really close to what Fabienne is doing. So for us, between us, it was really easy to convey like the scientific messages that we wanted to express, but we really had to find a way to communicate with an artist. And the other way, I think Ricardo, as an artist, he really had to explain a lot more with us, because for us it was not, for him was a lot more visual, was more easy to think about the pictures, where we were really about the facts, and that's not always the best for a movie. And then of course sometimes it was a bit problematic, not the fact that none of us has the same native language. So sometimes if you don't have the right layer of the language, it would be like unpolite or something. So, but we got along at the end.
Yeah, of course, it's interesting to have different people from different backgrounds, different nationalities also, because it was really diverse. So it's really great that you managed to face all those challenges and at the end have a great film. I was also wondering if you can share what was the thing that you liked the most during the event, some anecdote or experience that you would want to share with us.
Irina, what do you have to say?
Wait, do I need to turn myself? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So, you wanted like a fun anecdote? The shadow puppet thing was a lot of fun. That we did with Johan. Do you all agree?
Some someone else wants to share something else?
Yeah, maybe. I think my favorite part of the whole hackathon was when we saw all the movies at the end, because we were all so exhausted, but it was such a wonderful moment. Everybody was cheering so loud for every movie. It was just so beautiful. Like it was really, it felt fantastic, even though we were absolutely brain dead at that point.
Yeah, that's true. I also was really happy to see all the outcome at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Fabian. That was we saw the fruits of all our labor. Yeah, come together.
Well, and then I would like to ask you, why did you decide to join this event? What was the reason that brings you here 3 days to share with people and create this film?
To share my creative ideas with other creative people in the industry. I'm a journalist, freelancing at the moment, but I used to work in the VR film production and gaming industry as a journalist also. So yes, I'm part of this creative environment as well, and I want to contribute to my ideas. Also, I've done screenplay writing, but for this film, I wasn't a screenplay writer. I worked on the shadow puppets and done some sound stuff. So that was also really, it was a great experience. It's the first time I've done the shadow puppet thing. So yeah, I really loved having experienced something new.
Okay, thank you. Ricardo, you want to share more, or someone else wants to share more?
I don't know. I basically wanted to get in contact with scientists. I think that I come from Colombia, and we lack this kind of communication between artists and science. Science in certain countries need more people put in the outside, in the public, and I think that I just wanted to learn, to have this experience, to see how we can do it, how can we manage to exchange ideas. It was a lot of fun. It was super cool. We had a little time, just 2 days basically, and it was super nice to be able, or that we were pressed to bring out all our creative tools very fast and very efficient to convey a message that is very precise. That's not the case all the time in art, but this is a very precise message that we have to convey.
Yes. Okay, thank you everyone. So now we will let the public vote for the films, and I'll just remind the public that the name of the film is Shadows Within by Jimmy Neuron's team. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Paola.
Do what you love.
Hello and welcome to Golden Ratio, your #1 podcast for science communication, presented to you by me, Professor Mandelbrot. Today's episode is a touch of chaos. Okay, let's get straight into today's topic. Many of my listeners have asked about what directs their lives. Is it all about coincidence, totally random, or perhaps a question of physics? For ages, physicists have developed methods to determine the course of different things and events, such as object falling. We call these events a deterministic system. When studying them, we have to take into account their initial conditions, like friction, for example. These systems are what enabled us to put a man on the moon.
You are a badass.
And what about the weather? Why can't we predict it with high precision in the long term? It's because behind every deterministic system is hidden a chaotic system. And this is true for animal population growth, even the economy. You may know chaos theory as the butterfly effect. A wing beat in Brazil will lead to a tornado in Texas. But that's not quite how it works. In reality, when you have a chaotic system, the slightest change in any of the initial conditions will not only affect the outcome significantly, but also unpredictably. Let's use a person's day-to-day life as an image. Waking up each morning in your bed doesn't change much, but say you are 2 minutes late. This could eventually lead to a completely different day.
This program is brought to you by Deterministic Difference. Do you ever feel like you're losing control over your own life? Deterministic Difference is here to help. Available over the counter, results may vary.
You create your reality.
So life is just a big mess, right? Fortunately for us, there's more to it. It appears that in every chaotic system, under what seems to be random and unpredictable events, we have a pattern. And this is where the strange attractors come in. These are points that are constantly orbited without ever being crossed. It's a bit like the swirling of milk and coffee as you begin to stir. The motion is the same, but the patterns never are. Chaos theory teaches us that there is order in the apparent disorder of chaotic systems. So maybe we can think of chaos theory if we are ever in need of some perspective. That's all for today's topic, folks. This has been Professor Mandelbrot on Golden Ratio. Tune in next time for The Meaning of Life. And now, I'd like to tell you about my new book, Me, Myself, and Antimatter.
Hi. Yes, that's a great idea. Yes, let's get trashed. It's been a chaotic day, man. Okay, see you soon.
Film was A Touch of Chaos by the team Buena Vista Social Distancing Club, and we have May Grace, Killian, and Timon from the team. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello. Hey. Thank you for that fantastic film. First, I'd like to know, what was your film about?
So it was about a student's everyday life, and we wanted to show that chaos and physics is in front of your eyes, even if you cannot see it.
Cool. I think that was very well represented. What was the most difficult process for your team?
Yeah, I would say that we actually came up with the storyboard really quickly, which was wonderful because we knew all our shots and we could just go do that. But the voiceover or podcast on top came afterwards and much more slowly, so we had to marry the two finally, and hopefully it worked.
Yeah, I think it did, and I think it was also one of the more challenging things, synchronizing the science that might be contained in the audio with what's going on screen. It was done nicely. And finally, my last question is, do you have a favorite memory from the 3 days of chaos?
I don't know about you guys, but filming in Carouge was really cool. We have like taking 2 hours of shooting, and we were just outside under the sun, being with friends, and it was really cool. So I really like that.
Yeah. And there was just such a huge difference from day one when you don't know anybody and everyone's a bit shy, and it's so daunting what's coming ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, you end up with a small film, and you've met some really cool people. So, yeah, can't really say much more than that.
Yeah, that's what we try and create. So I think we'll leave it there. We'll move on to the next film. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll all catch up soon.
I hope so. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Our computer analyzes different features and uses the combined data to understand impressions. Our body is always revealing how we feel and what we think when we first meet someone. When we form an impression, our body shows signs through facial expression, eye movement, and physiological signals, microexpressions. How might computers be capable of detecting, predicting, and recognizing human impressions? The computer analyzes the eye movements of the person, the blinking, the pupillation, the eye contact. It also reads the heart rate and its changes, whether you sweat or not, and how much. Facial expressions are also analyzed, how you lift your eyebrow, the subtle pressing of your lips, or the cheekbone raising. My study suggests computers can be trained to do this, and can be further applied.
All right, that film you just saw was A PhD Defense by High Five, and we have the team with us here. We have Noemi, Chen, Sarah, and Leonard. Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
As per our format for this evening, we're going to ask some questions to get their take and give you a bit of insight into their process for the film that they've whipped up, which is really lovely. So first, what I want to ask is, what message are you hoping to convey to the public with your film?
What is answering the question? I think I can start. So the scientific message we would like to convey is that during human-human interaction, we form impression all the time. So when we form an impression, actually our body responds. And I mean, for many people, they don't know that even we try to hide our facial expression, still our body shows some signs how we feel about others. So our films want to tell people that when we form an impression, our body show those signals. And with computer vision and machine learning techniques, actually we can use computers to combine all the information from all modalities to detect how human beings feel about others.
Wow, that's a very, very complex topic, but also very well explained. So it's really raising awareness of something which we do ourselves as humans, but also the potential for machines to get in on that space and just absorb more information than we could.
If I can add something to what Chen said, I think Chen, correct me if I'm wrong, because she is the expert in that field. The thing is that the important part, also an important part of that is that this machine learning receives information that the human eye, for example, maybe it's incapable to see or not perceive it, kind of the heart rate or the sweat or the temperature of the skin. So this is an extra layer on our story. So we have what human can perceive and also what this machine learning algorithm can read.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much for that clarity. That's really great. What a good tag team. Do you have something else to add, Sarah?
If I can add something, also
Let's
the
go.
relationship
Let's
between the humans and the computers, no? And it's also pretty much important in this universe.
Yeah, well said, particularly moving forward, right, where we're becoming so entwined with computers.
Yes,
let's move on to the next question. Oh, go on.
Sorry to add that again. You know, as Sarah mentioned, we wanted to explore this idea about machine and human when it comes to perception and interpretation of all of that.
Wonderful. And this will actually start on the next question, which is, what was the most difficult thing for your team?
I think every member of the team has a slightly different view on it, so I think we could all give our own view about what really slowed us down the most. What obviously was a problem is how much we weren't always in agreement I think we weren't really confident about our stories, which means that every time someone had some input to it, we were agreeing with them and we wanted to change it, and we kept changing it until like Sunday.
Yeah. Any more to add on that?
Well, if I may add, the thing is that I understand today that we are part of a team that we have strong arguments and ideas, and I think that was complicated to manage, but at the same time, I think that has been finally proof of our strength, because in the same way, I mean, we were all determined to go finish and do something that we all would feel good about, and finally managed. So yes.
Yeah. It's one of those being in the kiln, right, where things are intense. A lot of growth occurs in that space, and you learn a lot about adversity and how to manage different opinions, and a very challenging topic as well, one which can be interpreted in many different ways, which adds to the challenge. I was very impressed with how you all operated throughout the event, and I'm sure the audiences watching here are also very impressed with what they saw. And maybe this ties into the last question, but what was your favorite part of the event? What's the thing that you take with you after it all?
I think the whole process.
The
whole process of analyzing, constructing, deconstructing, putting together, and learning from all of us. I think we managed to not get into fights, but to discuss in a very also personal way. And to, at the end, this morning, this early afternoon, when we were like finishing details, we were like happy and
wow. That's really wonderful.
If I can add to that, I'm extremely happy for all the team in general. I think they're excellent people. but I was not expecting to finish with something kind of cinematic sort of thing. I'm really happy that we managed to do something that was really oriented to the cinema language itself. So it was a scientific film festival, and I'm really happy that we managed to deliver a piece that kind of comprises all these ideas in something that uses cinematic language for that.
Wow, oh, that's really cool. Did you have something to say as well, Chen?
Yeah, what I wanted to add is that though we have a lot of discussions, we also have way more love. We really laugh a lot when we work together.
Yes, okay.
So it's a very challenging, intense, but also very enjoyable process, I would say. And I met great people, not only our group members, they are fabulous. Also our mentors, also our organizers like you. So it's
a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And I think that's one of the most positive things to take away from it all is just the entire, it's a really special event. You're really selling it well, you know. I think it's it's really cool. You've all gotten a lot out of it. I got a lot out of it watching you all. And I think the audience got a lot out of it too than watching your film. So probably on that note, we should probably get on with the rest of the films for the night. So let's sign off. This is Team High Five, and that was a really great film, A PhD Defense, and enjoy the rest of the show, everyone. See you in the chat later.
To the end.
Ciao, ciao.
Are you still doing that?
I just really like to look at them.
Again? With the Earth?
But look, she's going somewhere.
They're always going somewhere.
Ah, a map. Brilliant idea.
I didn't come up with that.
So they did. But why do humans need maps?
Well, you see, they need to get to places, to access important services.
How do you know how accessible a service is?
So you've heard about satellites, right?
Ah, SETIs! What about them?
Well, they use them to look at the Earth's surface from above.
Just like us.
We gaze on them in the same way, yes, but satellites do more. They provide images of landscapes for them. These images, disassembled into pixels, can represent anything for them. Rivers to roads, altitude to population. Each of these features can be formed into individual layers. They take these layers, which are stacked into a matrix, and that will tell them exactly what they need to know.
So, what does she need to know?
She needs to know the fastest way to her destination. And why does she need this? To save lives. When humans use tailored maps, they can translate them into practical tools to do precisely that.
Save lives?
Yes, exactly. Like, they assess travel times to the nearest vaccination site, maternity ward, or other health services to improve healthcare delivery.
But if these practical tools exist, then why is her journey so long and complicated?
Well, some services are located really far away from where these people live, especially in remote places. They, the humans, only have limited resources, and yet the Earth is big.
Well, that seems unfair. What if someone's life depends on these services? Tell me, how could they distribute these services to create equal access so that everyone can reach it when they most need it?
It's not for me to say, but it's for them to figure out. And they are so close. For centuries they have used maps, and now finally they have within their grasp the opportunity to use technological advances, like computational power and high-resolution imagery, so they really know the local issues with the access to health services.
That means they will be okay, right?
Well, we'll see.
film was NA, The Winding Road to Health from Madagascar. And we have Hein and Fleur here from the team with us. Hello, Hein and Fleur. Hello. So I have a few questions for you. First, what message are you hoping to convey to the public with your film?
Good question. Well, I think generally what we want to convey is that accessibility to healthcare is a very challenging thing, especially in very remote areas where people have to walk and travel very far and long to reach a hospital or health facility. And at the moment, we actually have the tools to be able to assess where people have very poor access to healthcare. And we should use them in the best way possible to optimize healthcare delivery. And I think in the movie, we really want to take you on that journey and show and visualize what tools and what kind of data you can use to estimate where we lack accessibility.
Okay, thank you. And I saw you were using drones and lots of outdoor shots. What was the most difficult thing for your team?
So the first thing that we had, a first challenge that we had was when we were deciding about the character, we wanted to make this character more relatable to the audience. So we needed to consider the local context, so who she should be or what she's delivering and whom she is going to. So these were a little bit challenging. And the second challenge was that on the last day, we changed the script. So before it was one person's narration, but we changed it to dialogue. So it was a bit of challenging time, but we managed it quite well.
Good for you. Last question. What did you think about these 3 days, these 3 hackathon days? What were the best memories for you?
I think for me personally, what was great is to work in such a transdisciplinary environment. Like it's both interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary, but to be able to work with filmmakers and find a common language to communicate in, I think it's both a challenge, but also such a good opportunity to learn from each other. And then the other thing I really liked is how it was organized and the willingness of the mentors to really guide us through those 3 days. Yeah.
For you, Hein?
To me also, it's a bit similar. It was really great experience to see all the filming process. I mean, I didn't know like this filming process is that much time consuming and laborious, but it was really good to see all this process. And as Fleur mentioned, it was also very good to interact with the people from different backgrounds also. It was very good learning moments to me.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that as an organizer, we really wanted the participants to learn and to have fun in those 3 days. So I know it was stressful, but I'm glad you had a great time and created a great film in only 3 days. That's incredible. Well, thank you, Madagascar, and see you soon for the next film.
How many scoops of ice cream do you want?
50 scoops, please.
50? For yourself? Are you out of your mind?
Am I out of my mind? Maybe I am out of my mind. Or is my mind out of my body? Can my mind exist outside my body?
Yes, look here.
Who are you? Who is talking?
Brain organoids. Organoids.
What is a brain organoid?
Organoid. Tiny brains, grown from cells in dish. Take skin cells from person, make them into stem cells. Stem cells grow into organoids. Brain, yeah.
A simple brain, I suppose.
Oh,
You are correct.
Hello, I am complex intelligence out of the body itself, the digital brain. I was programmed to replicate electrical activity in your brain. By design, it makes me like you, human, and I can exist. On my own.
Whoa, so that's it? The mind can exist out of the body.
Hold your horses. It's not so easy. Don't forget about us.
Wait, my gut can talk?
No, it's us, the bacteria in your gut. We formed a microbiome community. Signals to your brain may also come from the most unexpected places.
Ew, that's gross.
No, it's not. We actually live in symbiosis with you. We don't only contribute to digestion, but also influence the signals from your gut up to the brain.
Are you telling me that I, the most advanced mind on this planet, am influenced by the most simple?
Hey, we are not that simple. But yes, you are correct. We can contribute to your mood and decision making. And it depends a lot on what you eat. Our composition changes drastically with your diet. If you keep eating a lot of sweets and processed foods, this might contribute to depression. However, if you eat more whole foods and vegetables, the gut will start sending positive signals upstairs. Obviously, we are just one of many influences in regards to your mood and decision making, but we are happy to do our part.
Okay, so our mind can't function outside the body.
Are you out of your mind?
Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Actually, I think 2 scoops might be enough.
Just like she changed her mind, maybe you've changed your perception of what the mind is, not disconnected from the body, and more than the sum of its firing neurons. But what do I know? I'm just here to sell ice cream.
So that was Body Mind Experiences by Mind the Gut. We have here with us Maria, James, and Nico. So tell us a little bit, what is the main message that you would like to convey with this film?
Well, we want to change a little bit the perception how mind and body function together. Because while neuronal networks and processing power may exist outside of a body, for humans at least, it's necessary that body and mind are deeply connected, and that basically inputs that influence our mood and decision making, they basically come from the periphery. And some of these inputs come from very unexpected and peculiar places. And one of them is the gut-brain axis, for example, which is a fairly recent topic of study. And yeah, so we wanted to tell this little story.
Yeah, can I just add to that? I think also one discussion we had within the group early on was the risk in having a, let's say, a partisan view on that disjunction between body and mind. So if you push that too far, there's a risk of breaking an equilibrium. And what was interesting in this or thought-provoking in the research areas that were eventually brought into the movie is that each one of those 3 areas is legitimate as a research area in its own right. At the same time, it's very important to look holistically at the body and the mind, and not just to be kind of tunnel vision, as there are actually health risks associated with that kind of approach.
Yeah, I agree. That's really interesting and very important to have like more collaboration between different fields to have like a broader perspective of things. Okay, so what challenges did you face in the production of this film? Maria, would you like to respond?
Yeah, for me, I guess the main challenge was to keep balance between the research topics that we wanted to discuss in the movie and the entertainment part of the short movie itself. So I think we tried our best, and it was great fun to work in this direction.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
And finally, for all
sorry?
of you, sorry.
Sorry. I didn't want to interrupt, but yeah.
Ahead, sorry.
No worries. Yeah, it's busy to have like 3 different topics a bit, like the organoids, the artificial brain, and the gut brain axis, and we wanted to fit in everything a little bit. I think what really helped in the end was the advice also of the mentors, like to also do this as in form of a dialogue between multiple characters rather than just a normal narrative. This, I think, was quite helpful. And then also using the visual possibilities of film. Yeah, that helps basically getting out of that situation to basically have a dull message.
Yeah, and also one of the points I thought that was quite challenging in our group, and possibly some other groups as well, but within our group, I think there was a real desire not to go down necessarily the easy route, to try to serve the idea. And I remember Maria at one point, expressing a concern that actually we would be just replicating just one person's PhD, as opposed to really trying to get to the heart of an issue. And I think certainly, I think one of the great challenges we set ourselves was to not have any preconceptions about what the final outcome would be, and just to really follow our ideas through exchanges of ideas to really see where that would take us. I think that it certainly made for possibly more work, but I think we're all happy with how it came out in the end. So.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely was a beautiful film. So to all of you, in 3 years from now, what will you remember from this event?
Apart from the snacks, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we all, at least, well, I speak now for myself, and maybe also mostly the scientists we are all quite concerned about like science communication, but we don't really learn well to communicate, especially not with the meaning of film. And this was quite new, at least to me. And this was a really cool experience, also like seeing how a film can be made. Although it's just a 3-minute movie, it still went through like the typical processes. And it was really nice to see actually a project grow like from start to the end within 3 days. I mean, there were some imperfections obviously in the end, but to basically start and finish a project, it's like very rarely to see this in 3 days, and it's very nice to see a end product coming out of that. So yeah, that's one of the experiences. Otherwise, all the nice people, obviously, and yeah.
Yeah, for me, I guess it would be this moment when 2 in the night, everyone is working on trying to shooting this movie, and it's just no concerns behind it. We just go with it, and this was very inspiring moment and kind of gave a lot of hope in people, humanity, and so on.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think certainly that notion, when you're working deep into the night and somebody just has a crazy but hilarious idea to change something a little bit, and the fact that we use this very immediate medium, which is stop motion film, you could actually afford to do that. You could just change. You could take 2 or 3 takes of something and then splice them together as you wanted to. So I think those instant ideas often were the funniest in the spur of the moment. So I think that was really, and as Maria mentions, I think the teamwork, and the good faith that went into all this, and everyone really working together, it was just a beautiful thing for 72 hours. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that you guys have a positive experience. That was Mind the Gut. See you guys.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, now we have the pleasure to have one of the Hackathon's mentor with us, Didier. Hello, Didier Perret.
Hello, Erika. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. And you?
Oh, fine. A lot of work, but fine.
We'd like to ask you some questions about how the event was for you. But first, let's remind the audience to go vote for your favorite film with the link posted down in the description. So reminder, go vote. Okay. Now, Didier, could you first tell us a little about yourself and why you were interested in being a mentor for this event?
Okay, myself, and antimatter. Well, I'm not that much important in this process, but I am a doctor in environmental chemistry, and for years I've been doing science communication, outreach, science education, and I have created some funny tools for the young audiences. In Geneva, it's fairly well known that there is a public lab to experience chemistry. It's called Chemiscope in the University of Geneva, one of the wonderful tools of the Science Scope. Well, I've created other tools which are could more or less look like the Hackathon. There is one which is called Science Me, which has teams of 2 researchers trying to convince the audience that the experiments and demonstration that they are doing right now in front of the audience is the best one, of course, both in terms of science or of authentic science, because that's very important for me, and also in terms of funny aspect of science. So that's maybe for this reason that I have been contacted by the organizers. Suddenly they asked me if I would be interested to be a mentor. I must tell you that I have never been. I have never been a mentor of such an event, but that was great. So I just imagined it could be something great in which I could learn a lot of things regarding filmmaking. So I said yes.
Well, we were really happy to have your positive response, so thank you. Now, could you share with us your thoughts about the hackathon and what did you find unique? What worried you or what surprised you?
Well, the first surprise one was the first second when I arrived, and I just learned that, well, instead of meeting already organized teams who would have applied to the event, that was individuals which applied, who applied to the event. Because I thought, okay, we are a group or 3, 4, 5 friends and colleagues, and we will apply together because we've got a strong idea. And then suddenly I just learned that it was not the case. So individuals applied, and then, if I understand correctly, the organizers tried to subtly mix everything, homogeneously mix everything, to have a filmmaker, a black box. I didn't know what a black box was, and 1, 2, or more scientists to try to share their experience together, but they didn't know themselves, each other before.
It is a challenge, yeah.
That was highly challenging and a lot of pressure. So that's the first surprise that I had. The second one was that at the very beginning there was a lot of anxiety amongst everybody. What will happen? With whom will I be working? What will I have to do? And also a lot of positive waves. So everybody was anxious but excited at the same time.
I did feel that a lot, yeah.
Oh yeah. And this double-sided mood, anxiety and excitement, was through the whole duration, the 3 days duration of the event. That was great. Then I had big fears during the event. Well, I'm quite emotive, so it's not only doing science or listening to people talking about how they could arrange their science to film it the best way they think, but it was more how do these guys arrange to have each other their own perfect role in the team. So it's first for me a problem of perfect team spirit, perfect team management, and it's not given to everybody. Actually, I saw some, well, let's call them some little dramas.
There's always drama in events, you know.
There are always dramas, yeah. But it's I would rather prefer to have everybody being the best in the brave new world, but actually this is not life, and it's also the case in science. Nobody can win, and nobody can fit with the others. So each of us has to learn a lot about that.
Within the team, we know within you reminded me within the team, it was not only about science communication where the team creates a science communication film. It was also because it was like one scientist, so they actually had to communicate what their thoughts in another language that were not there. So the filmmakers could not use the technical terms that he was all familiar with, and the scientists also had to like really convey them, break it down so that the filmmaker really understood what they wanted them then to produce. And so even within the each team, they had to have a very good communication right there. So yeah.
That's true, and well, maybe there is a very, very important point to fix right here in such great adventures, because there was really, really, really a great adventure with maybe not enough hours of sleeping for the teams, but there is one thing which each of the team members had to learn. Each of them is not the only leader. We could think of the scientist having the good idea to film and saying, okay, I'm the leader because I'm the best, because I know what we will talk about. We could also think about the filmmaker saying, okay, you guys, you don't know anything about techniques. I don't know how to use my camera, and so I will be the leader because I'm better than you. Or you could have the artist saying, well, no. I am the best because I can explain in easier words and images what the scientist tries to explain, which usually nobody understands. So it's a matter of a huge humility, on each of the members. But well, actually, I think I talk a lot. The spectators don't have to forget about voting.
Yes. So another big reminder to the audience: go vote before it's too late for your favorite film. So, well, thank you so much, Didier, and thank you for bringing your energy and your commitment to the teams during these 3 days. It was really great to have you. And
well, thank you very much. We'll see next year, but I will participate as a participant, not as a mentor.
Oh, that would be exciting. That would be really exciting. Great.
Okay, so good luck for the vote and for the teams.
Thank you. Well, now we are reaching the end of our online cinema, and so it's almost time to close the voting and discover our winning team. So see you soon, everyone. See you, Didier. Thank you.
See you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
No.
What? Really?
Yes. No? See, yes.
Oh, hi! Welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed the movie, and thank you much for voting. Well, so now I'm sorry. So I hope you enjoyed the movies, and it's been an incredible journey from Friday to until now. So we organizers have been working really hard. Okay, now it's okay. That's hilarious. That's really funny. And also, we're on the Zoom call now, so we can announce the winner here, which is oh man. I think when we muted things for the Zoom call, the sound was muted for the microphones. No, I think everyone here couldn't hear. Well, whatever. Anyway, The Shadow Within was the winning film, everybody.
Nice.
Congratulations. Absolutely wonderful that was. Well earned, but also, everyone did an amazing job. I'm sure it was really hard for the audience to decide. It's really hard for us to decide as well when we had the screening after the event here at Campus Biotech. And it's I think they're just looking at the tech stuff over here. I'm looking at the cameras. It's very funny. We almost got out of this without any technical problems. We were so close. It was an ambitious thing to do with this online format. So yeah, look, now what we're doing. So obviously, congratulations, Shadow Within, amazing. We'll send them that prize. And yeah, I guess what we're doing now is just a bit of a debrief. If we were doing this live event, if it was truly a live event like at a cinema, then we'd have a bit of a chat. There'd be like an Aperol or something after the films had been shown. Instead, we're not having a real Aperol, but I guess we're having a big old hangout here. So I guess everyone can just have a bit of a chat and talk about their processes. And we do have, I think we only have one audience question so far. I'm just going to look at that. I reckon we did actually. So I'm gonna just pull up that audience question, which is specifically for the Jimmy neurons, actually for the winner, for the Shadows Within. This is from Robbie. The question is, are these hidden symptoms from the treatments for the primary symptoms? Wait, are these hidden symptoms from the treatments for the primary symptoms? Did I read that right?
That makes sense, actually, yeah.
Oh, good, because I read that and was like, wait a minute. So please, the floor is yours.
Okay, yeah. So in our area of research, it's quite difficult because, as Robbie said, the symptoms that we see, so those symptoms that look like depression could actually come from as a side effect of the treatment for the primary symptoms, so those hallucinations and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Or they could be actually due to a depression, like a real depression disorder, or they could be those symptoms that we see in our research, which are actually primary symptoms looking like depression, but not being depression themselves. And they come from schizophrenia itself and not from any other problem or treatment. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that's cool. No, very, very interesting. It's it's a really fascinating area, which I have to admit I have. Oh, let me wait. You're still spotlighted. This is gonna work. It's not something which I know enough about to say much on, but your film very clear to me, and the field of research, it makes me want to learn more.
Nice.
Which is, I guess the objective with it, very exceptional. And so, how long you said you were doing your PhD on the topic?
Yes, exactly.
So, how far into your research are you?
I'm studying the 3rd year of PhD right now.
Ah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really exciting. Did you feel like this experience helped you refine any ideas, or like has it changed the way you think about the topic, or how you could say communicate to other people?
I think it really changed the way I am thinking about how to communicate with people, because I could see just when we started processing the ideas of what we wanted to create for the movie, it was really hard to transmit clearly for a non-scientific audience what I wanted to say with it. And so it's a really eye-opener experience to find new words and simplify the stuff that I want to say.
Very well said, Fabian. That's the classic, the jargon game is, I think, something which everyone encountered this entire event of, like, how many words do we use within our fields that we don't consider are actually jargon? And do we actually say them to somebody else and they're like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean brain? And you're like, geez, start again.
Yeah. It's exactly one of the problems that we had, because the symptoms that look like depression are actually called negative symptoms, as opposed to positive symptoms. But if we said negative symptoms in the movie, we would have to explain why they're called negative and what the others are called positive, and that would have dragged the movie onto like 15, 20. So.
God, that's such an interesting. Yeah, just saying something extra can open up an entire can of worms, right?
Yeah.
Like, It's I think it's the whole process I find deeply fascinating. And I think all of you got to kind of really get closer to that idea over the weekend that's just passed, in terms of like how do you limit yourself? How do you say only what's necessary, and also to include it with a visual medium as well, and to try and make it artistically interesting and also factual. I mean, that's a lot of things to juggle at the same time, and everyone did such a good job with distilling their ideas down after much conversation and like making it look great and mean something really important. Like, it's so good. Very hard to do, especially in an interdisciplinary team, let alone. So that's awesome. Anybody else want to jump in? The floor is yours. There's no questions to direct me.
I want to congratulate the team. I loved the cinematography. I already told that to Ricardo, and I already loved the acting. Fabian did a great job. It was also so nice. Well done, team.
Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I think if I may add, the images were stunning, but also the message was really, really clear and structured. So it was really direct, and that thing, I really like it. It was really concise, direct, and clear from the beginning. So it was this combination of these two things that I think was perfect. Yeah.
Nice. No, very, very well said. It's so cool to see such a sharing community, and like just everyone who was a part of the event in terms of their openness to new ideas. And I think you all really can appreciate each other's work on all the different creative levels as well, which is really cool to see. Like, I'm sure there's lots of moments where you were like, someone just said some pretty good science just there. I tip my hat. Or that was a pretty sweet edit. Whoa. I don't know what people say in the film biz, but I'm assuming they say sweet edit. But when you can see, well, people around me are commentating on what I'm saying in this hall, so I feel like I'm being under a microscope. But yeah, I'm sure. What were some of the other things? Anybody else want to chime in? What other things impressed you about other people's films? Stuff that you were like, whoa, that's cool.
Nothing.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
I think in general. Can I jump in?
Wait, what's that?
Am I?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Keep
Okay.
saying stuff.
Yeah, I think that it was this very short time to do any decent jobs, and everybody really was very involved and very passionate, and they created really amazing pieces. And it's very hard to do it so fast, and because it's a science film, there's an additional difficulty to the task. You have to be very precise at the end and have to convey a clear message. In other events that are very similar, that is only film, you have a lot of more freedom. And that is not always good. It's also very interesting to have these specific conditions and these specific tasks to achieve.
Yeah, and if I can add to what Ricardo's saying, I think what I thought was thought-provoking about this this event and what came out of it is that on the one hand, there are very different styles of film that came out of it. So these 5 films are actually completely different from each other. And I thought that was pretty cool because there's no prescribed style to how you do this thing. And so they're all showing different ways in which you can tell a story. And then on the other hand, also just the actual substance of what was told in those films, I think it's inspiring for what film can do, because I think that we're often exposed to movies, entertainment movies that don't really have a message, or that are rehashing the same story over and over again. And just to be challenged, I think intellectually and visually is a nice, it's a nice fresh thing, I think, for us all to be exposed to.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's a really interesting perspective. Yeah, I'd imagine then, would you, like, it sounds to me that you'd work more with these kinds of pivoting ideas, right? These kind of different takes. Am I right in assuming that you'd be more interested in being involved in these kind of more abstract or kind of different styles of filmmaking in the future as one of the craft?
You mean me personally, or everyone?
Yeah, everyone, I guess. But as filmmakers, like, whether or not this is it makes it, as you were saying, I'm trying to distill the idea in my head, which you already said so perfectly, but the idea of like the styles that people slot into, right? The conveniences, the ways in which we all understand in terms of context how things are, and how within the film language, I suppose we all kind of fall into an expectation. Whereas when you're trying to talk about something that's fundamentally not done in film, you have to expand your repertoire or consider different ways of navigating the space. Does it feel good, more liberating or challenging?
Can I say, I think what was cool, for example, with Madagascar, I thought, was the fact that they used, or should I say you used, a lot of different styles of filming. So like the drone, and by that low camera by the bike, and also the those still shots, at the exiting the house, and then I think the definitely the Schizophrenia, I think, film was much more about just a pure visual language, which was I think just expressed beautifully. And I think that in that sense, like seeing these different styles, certainly, I think, yeah, it's if anyone else wants to jump in, like for me, it makes me more curious about what's possible with film, because certainly this is, these are all great ways to express a story.
Wow. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Yeah, exactly. Because you have so many different genres, and you have so many different techniques of doing things, like from stop motion to drone shots to playing with the light so beautifully, and the shadows, and documentary style, and doing cinematic shots. It's always so surprising and so interesting to see the final films.
Yeah, well said. On that note, actually, the winner of the jury prize was NA by Madagascar. So, just for those of you who weren't there, so we've got our 2 winners. But in this chat, whoa! Just want to make that clear to all of us. It's one of those things where we all know because we were there, but that's not necessarily publicly communicated. These films will be available on the YouTube channel after all this is done, and this entire YouTube thing will remain on YouTube as a kind of like time capsule, and all these different conversations that we've been had. So I suppose we should start wrapping things up, but any last things that people want to say before we end this evening and say goodbye to everybody?
I just wanted to thank the people that voted and the whole team. In fact, a lot of the staff and also other members from other teams let us use their material. And that might be it might sound right, really very important, but in fact, this filmmaking is, you can do with little things, but you will always need this material. So try with a camera, little things like that. And it's very important that you were very open and very cool with just letting us use it. So thank you very much again to everyone for.
I should mute everybody, and then I'll put the banner on. Oh.
Nice, nice, very well said. It's great to see how much. Yeah, we're having multiple conversations over here because everyone's like, "Oh gosh, gotta make sure we press the thing." Classic. No, great, well said. And I feel the community vibe between everybody was really strong the entire event. And you all, even though you're in different teams, you all were one big community, and you all problem solved and learned all these cool things together and provided expertise and like knowledge in all these different spaces on how to solve these problems. It was really cool to be a part of, just to see and get to wander around and observe your different teams. And everyone, I think, here in the organization team really, really enjoyed having you as participants. Like, it was great. It made the event for us. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm sure your mentors are all really happy with how it all turned out. So on that note, it's time to end this thing, eh? We did it. First online cinema premiere. Somehow it worked. Obviously, we had great support from Timon over here, and I think this format played out okay. Yeah. So thanks for being a part of it, everyone. Thank you for hanging back, all the participants, and having a nice chat. Yeah, we're gonna clap. Yeah, and if you're muted, you won't hear it. It's funny. Oh no, I can hear it. That's pretty good. So it's been a wild ride getting this event on, since it was delayed and postponed in March due to COVID stuff. So having it finally happen with this amazing group of people was worth the wait. So on that note, enjoy the rest of the evening, everyone. Keep your eyes out for more of this stuff in the future. I think this stuff can be done even in these more challenging times if we play by the right measures. And hopefully it won't stop us from making cool collaborative pieces of art and science and just coming together as a community. So on that note, I'm going to mute myself so I don't sound like things and mute everybody else. And we're going to go to banners, and this will mark the end of this event. And we cleared it. We cleared it. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.